Hello and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Hope everyone is doing well. Today I have some more Reddit stories for you guys. If I pronounce anything wrong, I do apologize. The original posters stories will be linked in the description. Hope you all enjoy. I was almost a human sacrifice. For clarification, this took place when I was 8. My grandmother was a little crazy. Well, my mom and dad were always working, so my grandmother would always watch me, and she always took me to church with her. But this church was in the woods, and in the middle of nowhere too. We had to take several back roads to get there. That's how out there this church was. And the church was the typical horror movie vibe. White outside, small, rundown, and creepy. And everyone inside wore the same outfits depending on gender. Women wore a white shirt with a long red skirt and red shoes, while the men wore a white shirt and black pants with dress shoes. And every time I was there, they asked me to strip and put on a pure white dress. While they all watched, and once I finished getting dressed, they would clap, and they would take me to a room at the very back of the church and would sit there, not being allowed to leave. While outside, I heard sounds of the cultists. I would hear chanting, and then I would hear moaning and groaning, but not happy fun time sounds. I would stay there for hours listening to these sounds. My grandmother told me to never ever tell my parents about any of this too. And me being 8 years old, I agreed. Anyways, at one point my grandmother came into the room and brought me out. There was this table in the middle of the room. While everyone was naked and kneeling in front of this table, my grandmother picked me up and put me on the table. Then this man that was wearing a pure white gown, not robe, but gown, walked to me. While I was watching him walk towards me, my grandmother was holding me down. He had something behind his back and I couldn't see it. Then, when he got close to me, he pulled out a knife from his back. I remember the panic kick in, and I started panicking and freaking out. I was able to kick the man in the face, but luckily scared my grandmother, and I was able to get out of her grip. While the other people were just kneeling there, lifeless almost. I ran away, and luckily no one caught me. But I could hear her running behind me, and then I hit the road where I ran back to town. The first house I came to, I started pounding at the door, crying and screaming for someone to help me. And thank God this old man opened the door and immediately knew something was wrong, because he immediately let me in and called the police. I told the police and my parents everything. They eventually found the church, and come to find out, the people that were kneeling down were dead. After I left, they were all brutally murdered, but the man and my grandmother weren't there. They haven't been found, and I fear that they are still out there, and I fear for my life every day. I didn't know where to put this, so I put it here. And I'm sorry it's so long, I just wanted to tell people my story. My friend is dead, I caused her death, and now she haunts me. I heard there's a cliff that nobody has ever climbed, my friend exclaimed from the other end of the table in front of me. I smiled, still sad. After my brother's death, he died while scuba diving in extreme conditions. Ever since then, I haven't felt the adrenaline I used to love. What do you think? I think we should do it. We could be the very first people to do it too. I gripped my cup harder, my heartbeat rising. Sure, I said, looking down at my drink. My friend squealed at my answer and quickly got up, saying she was going to start planning. She left the diner soon after. I sat there looking down at my half-eaten food and smiled gloomily. By the time we had reached the mountain, it was beginning to get dark. Are you sure we shouldn't go back to the hotel? It's getting really dark, I said as we started to set everything up. We'll be fine. We have flashlights, remember? I nodded and searched through our bags, making sure we had everything we needed. We pulled our harness on. We began climbing. The sun started to set, and it was getting harder to see. By the time we were about 5,000 feet above the ground, we had pulled out our headlamps and attached our flashlights to the strap of our backpack to point up. We continued to climb until early morning. Aren't you tired yet? My friend yelled from atop me. Kinda, but we're almost there, right? I think so. How long have we been climbing anyway? Probably 4 hours. Glad we got some rest before coming here. My friend looked for some more footing as I continued to ascend below them. My friend said right before plummeting. My eyes widened as they fell. "Jasmine," I yelled. The rope held them in place. I quickly reached out. "Take my hand." They reached out, grasping my hand. I tried to pull them closer to the wall, but the rope snapped, making them fall further. I held my grip, tightening my hand, feeling my muscles tense up. "Don't let go," she screamed. I tried to find more leverage but couldn't. My muscles ached from holding her for so long. "Please," she said before slipping through my grip. She fell, plummeting onto a small cliff below me. She slowly got up. "I'm okay." I smiled, knowing she was safe. "Should I come back down?" I could see her nod and slowly started to descend. By the time I was almost to the cliff, my hand slipped, scraping against the rock. Blood poured out of the wound, making me cringe. I continued to descend and reach the cliff. I grabbed her and hugged her. I felt something wet and sticky on my shirt. "Jasmine, are you sure you're..." "Oh..." I pulled away, seeing all her bloody. Her skull cracked open, letting blood ooze down her face and shirt. I screamed, pushing her away. She fell off the cliff, pulling down both our bags over the edge with her body. I watched in horror and tried to reach out for the bags before they fell over the edge. I wept, watching her fall down further into the trees below. My only friend gone. I curled up on the cliff and fell asleep, tired from the climbing. When I woke up, I found vultures gnawing at my palm. I grabbed a rock and smashed its head open, eating the flesh of it. I had regained some of my energy and looked around for anything useful. My climbing rope, harness, a few granola bars from my pocket, a headlamp, and the bones of the vulture. Maybe I should try descending further down. But I doubt I can do that with the condition of my hand. I got up and surveyed my surroundings. Rocks, trees, the sky, and a helicopter. A helicopter! I waved my arms wildly, trying to get their attention. They started to fly further away, and I picked up my headlamp, letting it shine against the sun. I saw them signaling back, and I smiled, my friend standing with me smiling. I smiled back and saw her head start oozing blood. I backed away and saw them try to reach out before seeing the helicopter come back around. She disappeared and I continued to wave. They lowered a rope to me and I started climbing it. Once I reached the helicopter, they asked what happened. I told them and they said they would collect my friend's body. When we reached the hospital, I saw my friend being rushed in, the paramedics calling for a nurse. After a week, I was called into the police station, who told me my friend was dead. I cried my eyes out until they put cuffs around my wrists, telling me I was under arrest for murdering her. Why? I didn't kill her. The policemen around me looked around and one stepped up. When you were on that cliff and hugged her, she was still alive. When you pushed her off, she hit the tree, dying instantly. I started to tear up and was sent to a cell. I was given 25 years in prison. Everywhere she terrorizes me in my sleep, in the morning, at work. The worst was when I was still in prison. She would sit next to me and tell me I could have saved her. I would try to defend myself, but she would reach out, strangling me. After that, I tried to ignore her, but ignoring her was an even worse idea. She would grab me by my hair and bash my head against the wall. Sometimes the guards would stop her, other times they would just watch, and when she was done, would take me to the nurse's office. It's been 25 years and I've been released. I'm still suffering. She won't leave me alone. Why? I'm stuck in a carnival and can't get out. I entered the carnival, giving them my ticket. I smiled wildly and was let in. The sun had started to set, but that wouldn't stop me from having fun. I quickly rushed and checked the time. 5 hours. That's enough time for me to have some fun. I looked up and saw the Ferris wheel. I got a line and had them punch my ticket. I sat on the chair and scooted into the end. Other people started to fill the carriage and I was beginning to get squished. But soon enough, the Ferris wheel started to spin. "Hey, scoot over. You're practically sitting on me," a man said from the seat across from me. "I can't. Do you seriously think I can move over here? We're basically crammed in here," the man sitting next to me said. It was true. He was almost sitting on me, although I can't say they're sitting on each other anymore now. I looked at the window and saw the sky. How beautiful. I continued to stare out the window and saw the sky slightly darken. I frowned. The heat inside the carriage was going up. I shrugged off my jacket and placed it on my lap, consequently hitting the person sitting next to me elbow. "Watch it." "Sorry." "Yeah, right," he said under his breath. I scooted over as close as I could and felt him scoot over too. I sighed and continued to look out the window. The Ferris wheel stopped, and soon as we reached the top, we felt the carriage jolt. I hit the window hard and felt something hot run down the side of my face. I put my hand to my face and pulled it away, revealing blood. I looked around the carriage and saw the others regaining their composure. Some were also bleeding, and I noticed the lady had fallen over and wasn't getting up. My blood ran cold as another passenger got up and checked on her to reveal her face smashed in. Blood dribbled down her chin and her shirt. I looked out the window and saw people running away from the carnival, leaving and suddenly dropping. I banged my fist on the window to see a man in black stop, turn around, and raise his gun. The bullet went right through the glass, and I ducked just in time. Unfortunately, the guy next to me was shot. He dropped onto my shoulder, and I pushed him off. Now this brings us here to where we are right now. Some of the passengers tried to jump out of the carriage and onto the beams below. Sadly, they did not make it very far before falling to their death where they lay now. I'm sitting in the corner of the carriage. We don't know what to do, and it's already been 3 hours. I'm shaking, and other people around me are starting to lose hope and are crying. My phone's going to die. Please, somebody help us. Update. Luckily, one of the passengers had a phone charger that they saved me. My phone is somewhat charged. It's been a couple hours now, and the only way out is to climb down the beams. I have looked out and realized the metal of the Ferris wheel is rusting. We're worried the Ferris wheel might collapse. I'm going to try to climb down later with some gloves from one of the passengers. Wish me luck. Update. This is Fiona. He didn't come back. Sam is dead. He fell while climbing down. He told us his glove got stuck on a nail and was pulling on it when one of the masked men came and shot him. I'm so sorry to everyone. We'll try to update when we can. Update. This is Fiona again. We haven't figured a way down. We don't have enough clothes to make a rope down, and it isn't sturdy enough. We tried to have our weight move the carriage down, but it wasn't enough. Instead, our carriage got loose and fell. Now we're stuck between two beams and hanging on for dear life. We'll update once again when we can. Update. I can't take it. It's been 3 days. I'm so hungry. We decided to eat the woman's hand from earlier. We barely have any water. I feel like we're slipping on the beams. We can't hold on for much longer. I'm being tormented. I'm thinking of ending it. It's too much. I recorded my night's sleep after waking up bleeding. Now I wish I hadn't. My name is Michael Simmons. I am sharing this post after what I saw this morning. Please, as unbelievable as what I'm about to describe is, believe me, I think I'm in danger. Recently, I have been waking up with gray scratches across my back and chest. I had put this down to a restless sleep or something I had done during the previous day. I have lived alone ever since my wife left me. Nobody else in the house. I sometimes hear the odd shuffle or knock at night, but always put this down to the fact my walls are thin and have neighbors either side. 2 days ago, I woke up to blood on my pillow and 4 scratches from just below my left eye down to my jawline. I was now getting quite concerned, wondering what I did to myself while I slept. This is when I had a thought. I would record myself at night and show it to the doctor to see what was causing my aggressive sleeping. The evening had set in, and I set up my old GoPro camera to record my night's sleep. The next morning I woke to no scratches. As I looked up to where I had placed the camera on top of my wardrobe, it was gone. I looked all over my bedroom, even pulling my wardrobe out to see if it fell behind. Nothing. Last night I managed to set up an online live feed with a wireless webcam to my computer so I could record the full night. I woke up this morning eager to look at the footage again. I had no marks on my body. I forwards through a few hours with nothing but me sleeping. At 3:23, the door handle slowly began to turn. The door crept open and I saw someone crawl inside my room. It looked like a girl. She was maybe 4 feet tall, pale bone, tight skin around her arms and legs, her clothes ripped, exposing deep wounds that covered the entirety of her body. I shuddered. Every hair was now standing on end. As I witnessed my nightly visitor approach me, she was crawling on all fours, somehow going across the ceiling and down the wall above my head. She contorted her head up towards the camera. Suddenly, her matted hair partly covered her piercing eyes. In an instant, she darted across the wall and disappeared. A few seconds later, her lifeless face appeared from the side of the camera, strands of hair flowing down her bloodied face. She whispered hallowing words from her blue, blistered lips. Night, night. The feed stopped. I have now watched the video in pure horror 5 times already. I don't know what to do. How long has she been here? All I want to do is move. I will upload the video once it was downloaded. I can hear a constant shuffling sound around the house as I write. Michael gone. Night, night. Thank you for listening. If you like this type of content, please consider subscribing and liking my channel, and I will see you on the next one.